Hi, welcome back to my channel and a new video today. I'm going to be giving you my review for Mad Max 2, or as it's also known as The Road Warrior. So this is a continuation of my Mad Max series of reviews. I've already talked about the first film, which I'll leave a link for you here if you want to hear my in-depth thoughts on that. Just to summarise, I liked it, didn't love it, thought it had a few problems, but I still enjoy the movie. So coming back to Mad Max 2 after 10 years since the last time I viewed this, I can't believe how much better this film is than I remember. I thought this was absolutely fantastic. Basically, everything that I said about the first film that I didn't particularly like, I thought some of the elements to it didn't really work. I felt like it was poorly edited, and I just feel like the story was a little bit unfocused. All of those problems are fixed here, and all of the good elements about Mad Max are taken up to another level here. This is an incredible sequel and is still remembered to this day for a very good reason. So getting into the story here, this one takes place obviously a few years later, where Australia now is this complete apocalyptic wasteland, and our main character Max is living somewhat of a loner lifestyle. He's kind of moved away from the rest of humanity. He likes living as a lone wolf, doing his own thing. He's got his mind focused on survival, and that's how he operates now. He's kind of distanced himself from the rest of humanity, and a series of events happen here that lead him into a situation where he is going to be helping this community defend themselves against this group of raiders who are looking to take all of their fuel supplies. So that's really the story set up here. So it's a film really about seeing this character of Max kind of get back in touch with his humanity, find a reason to start caring about people again once he's forced into this situation that means he has to assist them in this conflict. And just talking about Mel Gibson here as Max for a minute, he looks way more settled to me in the role and as an actor in general, I think. You know, for a guy of very few words in this film, you know, Max is a very stoic type of character, but he just has a really nice presence about him. Even with the minimal amount of dialogue that he has, you really do feel like you get to know him and you do care about him, and you do understand how he commands a certain level of respect from the people around him that he meets throughout the course of this film. So I like that there's kind of an arc for him as well. I think it's a really nice story for him to go on after the events of the first one. I thought it was an interesting direction to take the character. I also really liked this character of the autogyro pilot they bring in here. And I think he has quite a nice arc as well and has a good kind of connection with Max throughout the film, where you know, there's these two characters that end up having this conflict with each other right at the beginning of the film, and you know, this guy is kind of showing you what the world has become like now. You know, the fact that in an apocalyptic land where there's no rule, no order, people are starting to get a little bit more crazy. They can act out in ways to kind of shock and intimidate others. And you see this moment where Max gets to jump back on this guy. He basically takes him as his prisoner for some time. And this character kind of goes back into acting like a normal human being again. And I thought this was quite interesting because it kind of goes to show that these people, you know, back in another time would probably have been very normal guys, somebody you could have, you know, gone out and had a drink with. But, you know, this kind of land where there's no law, there's no rules. And when you've been out on your own for a long time, it turns you into a completely different person. So I kind of liked this change throughout the film, who he starts off as and who this character becomes, because he gets some really nice moments to shine in the later half of the film as well. So I really liked the dynamic between these two characters. And you know what? This is a simple story here. It is a story of a group of characters defending themselves against bad guys, and action ensues. But the thing is just the way it's done, the things that it gets right, it just does so perfectly. You can't help but love the film for it. You know, this is all about the vibe, the atmosphere, the action, the quirky characters. And all of it just really works and makes for a really thrilling experience. And with a film that's only 90 minutes, again, you know, these days we're used to seeing so many overly bloated, really long films. And the fact this one is so short, it just leaves such an impression on you. It just happens at a million miles an hour, but it really works. And you can tell that this is a filmmaker that, you know, has a little bit more experience under his belt now. He's nowhere near as constrained by the budget here. He's got better actors on board, and the whole thing just feels like somebody making something that is definitely a progression, which is what just makes it so much of a better film than the first. But the thing is it does also improve on and build off of what was already established in the first film, you know, creating this world, creating this character of Max, and it just builds on that in the best way possible that a sequel can. Of course, talking about Mad Max, you have to talk about the action. And it is just absolutely off the scale here. The final chase scene, the whole, you know, run down the highway and all of the vehicles and crazy things going on. It's just such a thrill ride to watch this. It's really exciting action. Like I said before in my previous review with Mad Max, I struggle a little bit with more modern action films when they get really heavily CGI'd. It just takes away the intensity for me. It takes me out of the situation when you know there's a group of people standing in front of a green screen, or you've got explosions and, you know, cars flying and it's all CGI'd in. It takes away a bit of that experience that I feel like you're meant to have in an action film. Whereas in something like Mad Max 2, everything you are watching is real. And if you see somebody jump off a motorbike or a car and roll 15 times, that was them doing it. And I just love that about this. And it just makes the action so much more exciting, so much more, you know, intense to get yourself put in this situation with these characters. And, you know, something else I love about this is, you know no characters are safe here. You know, it's a very violent film. There's clearly no censors on this. And, you know, it shows you what happens when somebody is hit by a car going at 120 miles an hour and they go under the wheels, and it has no problem showing you that. So I thought the whole final chase sequence, all of the action at the end was absolutely mental to watch and really holds up today. Nothing about it looks dated. It looks just as good as ever. And I think even in some ways it's better to look back on this kind of stuff now because, as I say, in comparison to a lot of modern films, it really stands out as something that was really quite special. I only have the slightest two nitpicks about this film. One of them being the conclusion of this villain they build up. And mainly because I don't know if it's just something I missed in the movie, but, you know, the whole scene where he kind of veers off and ends up coming back down the highway in the opposite direction, and they end up all having this big head-on crash that kills him. I never feel like it's very clear how he gets into that position. Like, how has he managed to go out, get so far ahead and come back down the highway from the opposite way? It's almost like a blink and you miss it moment, because by the time he's actually about to hit them, you've just seen this character again and then it's all over. And I felt like I didn't quite follow along with what was going on there. Just like that, the main villain is killed off. And I look back and I was like, was that actually him? Was that him that just died? So I thought that was maybe a little bit confusing. Maybe something that will be cleared up on another watch. Whether I just took my eyes off the screen for a moment, I don't know. But I definitely remember feeling like that wasn't the most clear how that kind of whole scene played out. And the other thing as well, actually, was something that I didn't really think about as much when I watched the film. And it was only the other night when I was talking with my uncle about the film, because he's a big fan of Mad Max 2 as well. And we were talking about the scene where when Max first has the autogyro pilot captured, and they're looking out at this group of raiders and what they're doing to some of these community people. And they have this woman and they're kind of beating her up. They're kind of showing you that they're raping her. And then there's this scene where one of them has binoculars and one has the telescope. And there's kind of this little moment that's played for laughs where Max is taking the bigger telescope off the guy to kind of get a better view of what's going on. And it's one of those things where it's quite dark what's happening. You know, these are community members you end up really caring about and feeling for their their situation and their story as the film goes through. So to have this kind of weird little moment of comedy in something that I feel like should be taken seriously does feel a bit off. And the more we were talking about that, the more I thought about it. And I was like, yeah, tonally, that scene just doesn't really work. So it's not that I can't have moments of comedy and kind of dark, gritty action films, nothing like that. But I just thought that particular moment was a strange place to kind of insert a humorous joke there. But other than that, guys, this is an absolutely phenomenal action film and easily one of the best of its era. Again, I can't believe how much more I liked this on the most recent rewatch. Before this, I did remember this being my favourite in the franchise of the films that I've seen. Thunderdome is the only one that's going to be a first time viewing. But I've always liked Mad Max 2 the most, and watching this again now has really just cemented that. For me, at the moment, it's head and shoulders above the other films, but I will be interested to see Fury Road again when I get to that review. So I'm going to give this one a 4.5 out of 5 rating. So that's all of my thoughts for you in this review on Mad Max 2. As always, please do come and join me down in the comments section. Let me know what you think of the movie, and please do tell me, is this your favourite one in the franchise? And if so, tell me why. Leave all of your thoughts down below. Also, please do consider subscribing to the channel if you've been enjoying my content. I've got lots more good stuff coming to you soon. I'm going to be finishing off my Mad Max series in the near future as well, so look forward to all of that. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.